lawyers and doctors, we are the best at it. We can terrify you to your core, and you'll be like, how do I protect myself? Thank you. Thank you. You're an angel. Where did I find you? We are not angels. We are humans. But these are the things which we are dealing with. And then they see it in the open. Like they can actually, so it feels like they're transparent walls. And once you explain it, simplify it, they can actually see them.
So you talked about connecting with people and their potential. Let's talk about business law that you deal with. So you have been helping young Indians set up shop here, young business entrepreneurs, right? How has your work contributed, and has it created a ripple effect into the community? Does it really help the American economy? What do you see? How does it progress?
So any legitimate business is adding to the economy, right? In general. Anytime you have a business, you will pay taxes. You will pay taxes on your revenue. You will be paying your personal taxes. So definitely you're contributing to the economy in general. But it's also supportive of people, because not everybody can be a software engineer or a lawyer or a doctor, or get like with the current economy situation, not everybody can even get a decent job. AI has taken over a lot of simple jobs which earlier needed people, which is not a bad thing. But then people need to excel and remold themselves into something else, so that they can still make value of their time and their effort and feel happy about whatever they're doing. So we work with businesses who just have ideas and who want to deliberate and see what are the legal consequences, who are who are ready to purchase somebody else's business. So we work on purchase sale agreements where we help them get the best deal. We also help them with their commercial leases if they're setting a shop, their basic contracts. Very recently, we were working with a photographer, and she was like, "Okay, I don't know what to do. I know how to take good photographs. I know how to talk to people. I'm a really good person, but I don't know anything else. All my clients are word of mouth." And I'm like, great. Do you have a services agreement? Why do I need that? Okay. Do you have liability insurance? How do you save the work you do? What is the mode of sharing your services to the client, right? What is the limit of your liability? Like, have you even considered that? And it's like, yeah, but they're all my friends. I was like, yeah, but what if something goes wrong? We had that discussion. After a week, she comes back and she said, yeah, I was doing a marriage photography,
And they came back to me with
and they said the pictures were not the way they wanted. We created a whole care package for her where she registered a company, all the right entities, with IRS, with Washington State, and then services agreement so that she knows what her liability is, how even like educated on what should be the minimum, best efforts she can have. She should have a backup device. She should, store that on the cloud, so that there is no time where, she has to deal with data loss. And most of the times we also said that always work with 2 cameras, so that if there is some problem in one, you always have a backup. So just understanding how simple things can, affect her liability towards everything. And it was very enlightening. It was very enlightening to understand that people have really good ideas. They know how to implement it, but nobody thinks of what might go wrong. Right? It feels as if we are the devils. We are always talking about, hey, this might go wrong, protect this like this. But it feels good when somebody actually benefits from all those additional legal provisions or clauses we have inserted. Even when I was working in-house, we were dealing with a very important reinsurance company, and my whole team was like, why are you stretching this limitation of liability clause? And I was like, with big institutions, something can go wrong. And if we say time is of essence, right, that this thing needs to be delivered by 31st of December, how will we make sure if we don't penalize them for not meeting that time? So we did that, and we added a penalty of 100,000 for every week they delayed. And they were like, okay, whatever. Like, we just finish it. We don't want to rush it, just finish it. We finished it off. The project was delayed by 2 months.
Oh, God.
And they were able to get that money back through the penalty clause. And they were able to, work and negotiate and get more things built in because we provided for that. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it feels like we're always talking about what can go wrong, but I think that's what our responsibility is, because everybody thinks the world is the most happiest place and there is no tears, nobody saying bad things about you. Nothing in the world can go wrong. But somebody needs to be that sane person telling you, well, even when Alice was in Wonderland, a lot of wrong things happened.
She went down the rabbit hole. I'm here to show you that there is a rabbit hole somewhere.
So just be prepared that if there is a rabbit hole, you're properly wrapped in so that you don't fall and injure yourself. So I think every good lawyer has that responsibility, and it's very important that you connect with your clients and you make them feel that confidence in you that you are on their side. And sometimes you have to be that person who shows them the mirror of reality. And once you're able to play those roles, I think then you're doing justice to your client.
So your job is to punch holes in everything, right? To show them.
Punch holes and patch it. Right? So you can't just punch holes and leave the client being really unhappy. Oh, then I can't do this. It's like, no, punch holes, but we basically double bond it so that it does not tear on the way. Or if it tears, it has minimum impact on everything else. So that it's not like a house on sticks, it's a house on brick and mortar, which would only get affected when something really big goes wrong.
The big bad wolf should come in and you're going to protect it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So, all right. So if you look at hundreds of families you've helped through their visas or business starting or immigration law, I'm sure you cannot single it out. But according to you, what do you think is the single greatest contribution to the society that we live in?
I think the most important thing is how people feel when they work with you, right? At the end of the day, it's all legal paperwork. It's all legal jargons. It's all, but how can you simplify it so that people understand it? Like if I tell you RLT, if I say, oh, you can do QDOT or QTIP, like people are like, what are you talking about?
Exactly. What are you talking about?
And I'm like, no, I'm just saying you can create a revocable living trust, RLT, and how that helps. And you can, if you want to do tax planning and you don't want when the assets transfer from one spouse to the other spouse, you can do a qualified domestic trust if you're a green card holder, or you can do a qualified terminable interest in property but what it means is you're basically moving from first to die to the second to die scenario. So the taxes are not calculated when the assets are just transferring between spouses, but the taxes are still due. They're due when the surviving spouse goes away. So like helping them understand it in simple language versus throwing these big concepts, I think just makes me feel that I'm making their journey a little more simpler, where they are making they're asking educated questions and they're making informed decisions. Because at the end of the day, whatever the lawyer is going to say, you might have to say, yes, let's just do whatever you think is necessary. I don't want to do this. You tell me, okay, I'm going to save 300,000. Do whatever you can do to save me 300,000. Well, everybody can play with the fear, right? And lawyers and doctors, we are the best at it. We can terrify you to your core and you'll be like, how do I protect myself? Thank you. Thank you. You're an angel. Where did I find you? But making them understand, right? That we're not angels, we are humans. But these are the things which we are dealing with. And then they see it in the open. Like they can actually, So it feels like they're transparent walls. And once you explain it, simplify it, they can actually see them. And that experience makes me feel great, because when I was in-house, that was something which was missing. Like that human approach to things, that I'm making difference in people's life. I think this practice actually helps me feel that I'm doing something important. So not only is it giving me purpose, but it's also helping me drive my conversation, and it's helping me learn more, because people come back, they have questions, and I'm like, how do I simplify it so that it's not a struggle for them to understand? How do I simplify that? How does the temporary guardianship changes anything for you? Or how do I simplify that, if you have this clause in this agreement, that it's going to protect you? How do I create that narrative? So it kind of helped me build that confidence into going into more uh, roots of things and making simpler narratives so that the clients can understand what's going on. So yeah, it not only for me, it's not only helping them, it's helping me, because I felt lost when I was in-house in the corporate practice. Everything was just too blown out. Nobody cares what's going on. Everybody is a risk taker. But when you look at people, individual, lot of them are risk averse. Lot of them wants to live a very simple life, so that they're not hounded by any of the legal compliance or obligations, right? And how do you tell them that this is possible? It's possible to live simply but still understand what's going around, and how it impacts you. So I think that's what my narrative is, and that's where I'm trying to build and support my clientele in making that informed, knowledgeable decision in everything they do, and making big Friday USCIS posts where something is changing. Now this is happening. Now 100K proclamation. Like
social vetting.
we spent like a month working for free, working with students just to help them understand that this proclamation doesn't work on you if you have continually stayed in US and done your OPT and done your education. It only applies to people when they're coming from outside, right? So it took us. I felt there was a lot of purpose in it. We didn't make any money out of it, but we just
pro bono,
felt
right?
that it was a lot of community support which we could do. And that was the first time when we reached like 150,000 Instagram reach. And we thought, okay, this was really a big problem. So we thought that it was like a simple answer because somebody asked. And I was like, okay, there might be more people who are asking about it. But it was a real question. And then we, started thinking that maybe we should look into what's changing, what questions people have in the community, and answer them so that more people can think about it if they've not thought about it, and get that answer if they were still wondering, how do I reach out to people, or what can we do about it? So we just tried to lead
the awareness
through education, and lead through awareness of things are changing, but not everything is like the world is not falling. So just helping them understand that it's normal, it's common. It's like, so for me, law is common sense. It's common sense because of how I've seen my family treating this, but also because how it was written, right? People thought of a problem and then they thought of a solution. And then that just became how everything is processed. So just helping the clients understand that it needs to be treated as common sense. It's not need to be treated as, oh, this is like a heavy hammer on my head. If I make a mistake, it's gonna hit me. It's more like, how do we make sure that we are not
in a situation,
walking on eggshells, that we know if we do this, this is going to happen. And maybe we don't need to do this. There's a simpler way of doing things.
Awesome. That's fantastic. So, Ms. Sankhla, winding up the entire interview into one last question. Years from now, when you look back at the case files that you've done or gone through, will you measure the success by the cases that you've won in court or the families that you've set up here in the US, the assets that you've transferred? What, according to you, would be the metric of a good, successful career in your eyes?
I think if after all those years I'm still happy doing what I'm doing, doesn't matter like the numbers, right? The numbers can go up, they can go down, doesn't matter. If I'm happy and if my conscience is clear, I think that's how I'm going to measure how successful I've been in my career.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sankhla. This conversation has been really, really insightful. So really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.